Richard Nixon is an anomaly and a mystery and an enigma and a riddle on many levels. Very well educated, very smart, panoptic view of world events, traveled all over the world, yet fairly mediocre inaugural addresses. You decide, few good turns of phrases, but generally speaking, mediocre. He locates himself in time and space, speaking to his fellow citizens of the world community nearing the third millennium. He talks of the spiraling pace of change, having successfully campaigned on the so-called secret plan to end the Vietnam War. He speaks of peace because, he says, the people of the world want peace and the leaders of the world are afraid of war. The times are on the side of peace. With violence in the streets, he paints America as rich in goods, but ragged in spirit, reaching with magnificent precision for the moon, but falling into raucous discord on earth. Now he hits a few more grace notes when he says, we are caught in war, wanting peace. We are torn by division, wanting unity. We see around us empty lives, wanting fulfillment. We see tasks that need doing, wanting for hands to do them. To a crisis of the spirit, we need an answer of the spirit. Well, for answers, Nixon appeals to the better angels of our nature. He foreshadows, interestingly, Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau's phrase, megaphone diplomacy, 15 years later, when he says, we cannot learn from one another until we stop shouting at one another. We don't think of Nixon as eloquent or conciliatory, but he could turn a charitable phrase while using the same inverted, archaic construction as Theodore Sorensen used for John Kennedy. Quote, those who have been left out, we will try to bring in. Those left behind, we will help to catch up. But Nixon was a Republican, helping to lay the planks that would serve Reagan and Bush in years to come. One such plank was small government. In this past third of a century, he said, government has passed more laws, spent more money, initiated more programs than all our previous history. That's why some people say the Republicans and Barry Goldwater really won the 64 election. It just took until 69 to realize that, or some say 80 with Reagan. At any rate, 1/3 of the way through his first inaugural, Nixon degenerates into reciting a string of aphorisms and bon mots. In his second inaugural, he rightly cites his missions to Peking and Moscow and his quest for peace. He seems to borrow JFK's technique of parallel constructions on several occasions. But unlike Kennedy, Nixon fails to blend his maxims into a coherent whole. They are unmixed ingredients. Perhaps he was hoping each listener would read into the speech what each wanted to hear. He does, however, capture the angst of America when he says, quote, our children have been taught to be ashamed of their country, ashamed of their parents, ashamed of America's record at home, and of its role in the world. Regrettably, in the end, Richard Nixon probably didn't help, other than in arms control, perhaps. But note the repetition, ashamed of. That's one of the keys to great speech making.